Good morning. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone this glorious day? And the rest of you? You feeling good? Beautiful. Welcome to Unity of Tucson. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I'm the senior minister here at this glorious spiritual center where we gather each week to celebrate the good that is love, to celebrate the good that is life, to celebrate the good that is light, to celebrate all the attributes that you are. You are the culmination and the expression of infinite divine, and I am so grateful for that. If you want to move your body to this opening song, it's a little more mellow than we usually do, but feel free. Gonna wash the dust off my soul. Gonna listen to some rock and roll. No cares, come what may. I'm making it a beautiful day. Gonna drive my car to the sea. Swim out far, 'cause I believe that the waves will wash the gray away. I'm making it a beautiful day. But let me hear you say, oh, oh, my, my. I'm learning to fly. Hey, hey, what's that you're saying? Let's not forget we're alive. You know what? Gonna climb that hill behind my house. See what this place is all about. 'Cause from above it all, you can't help but say, it's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna be a beautiful day. But let me hear you say, oh, oh, my, my. I'm learning to fly. Hey, hey, what's that you're saying? Let's not forget we're alive. Gonna turn my enemies into friends. What's broken gets stronger when it mends. When we all come together, this song will play. We'll sing, it's a beautiful day. And it's gonna be a beautiful day. Oh, oh, my, my. I'm learning to fly. Hey, hey, what's that you're saying? Let's not forget we're alive. It's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna be a beautiful day. You know what? Let's make it a beautiful day. Yeah, we're going to make it a beautiful day. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It is already, yes. We have made the affirmation. We have decided inside that it is a beautiful day. And so this is what I expect to experience. So yes, that's what we're all about. Once again, good morning and welcome to Unity of Tucson. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. As I said before, I am the senior minister here. And I'm just taking a moment to take in all these magnificent faces. I do sometimes say, I wish you could see this from my perspective, because it's pretty astounding. It's really astounding to see all of these magnificent lights, and I'm deeply grateful, grateful, grateful. Our purpose here at Unity of Tucson is to provide a safe, loving, and inclusive space where we can all explore the principles of the New Thought spiritual philosophy in order that we may master spiritual understanding, find personal purpose, and develop a spiritual path. And as I say each week, what I have found is that the application of these teachings, of these principles in my own life has enhanced the quality of my life, and for that I am so deeply grateful. Now, you may not believe everything you hear today. But you're the minister. Aren't you supposed to tell us what we're supposed to believe? No, absolutely not. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm not here to tell you what to think. My job, I think, is to offer the tenets of the philosophy in order that you may determine what you would like to do with them. And so if something does come up today and it kind of crunches up against your belief system, just be okay with looking at it and saying, you know what, I see this as an idea that maybe I can perhaps consider, and this is the idea that I currently hold, and what works better for me. Because as the master teacher Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe. And so if that belief is working better for you, I'm not here to change that. I find that this belief works better for me, and we are all free to choose. We also have a vision and a mission here at Unity of Tucson. I would love for us as a community to share out loud first these words of our vision statement. We envision a world awakened to its magnificence. And the vision is a manner in which we may choose to see the world. The mission are steps that we can apply to allow that world to come into expression. So let's share together these words of our mission statement. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Just take that in for a moment. Just breathe into those ideas. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Take a moment to consider that these are inner ideas, that these are activities of the inner life. These are activities of our share of an infinite consciousness. And as we allow the movement of these ideas in mind, we live the expression of these movements. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And if you ever have trouble remembering who you are, please know that I am here to remind you that you are the magnificence of infinite divine presence showing up perfectly in this world at this time. And I celebrate that. Another thing that we celebrate here are the various religious paths and spiritual ideas and spiritual paths and faith traditions of the world, with the understanding that each and every one of them is rooted in divine love. We do that through a ceremony that we've adopted here called Lighting the Flames of Faith. It is guided each week by our keepers of the flames. Here to do that this week, please welcome Diane Christie and Lorraine Pritz.
Good morning. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of surrender to divine love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. This final candle is the healing candle. It represents the revealing of the divinity at the core of all experiences. This is your candle for whatever is in your mind and heart that requires the light.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. This candle here, as many of us know, but if you're new to our community, I'll let you know, this candle represents the peace at the core of all experiences. This is the peace candle. And we keep it consistently illuminated as a reflection of that inner consistent illumination of peace. And as we allow our inner peace to inform every aspect of our being, our thoughts, our beliefs, our relationships, all experiences, then right where we are, we become conduits of, expressions of, and perpetuators of world peace. So let's honor that by sharing together this prayer for world peace. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established and peace reigns in the world. Each week, it is a delight to be able to share the wisdom and insight of one of the members of our ecclesiastical corps, our ministers, our prayer chaplains, and I'm always excited to hear what they have to offer by way of a reading, guiding us in affirmation and also in prayer. Sometimes things happen, and this morning we got notice that the person who was scheduled to be the prayer chaplain today was not available to be here today. So guess what? You get me. And I have chosen a reading today from Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth, one of the luminaries of Unity. And one of the things that I talk about my mentor in ministry and how he came to be in this movement. And, my prior path was in religious science, which is under the New Thought umbrella, and came to Unity when I was hired here to be the senior minister. But my mentor in ministry, his first path was Unity, and then he went to religious science. His first teacher when he was in New York City was Eric Butterworth. And so I feel very connected to Eric Butterworth. I love the work of Eric Butterworth. And I just wanted to read the beginning of this book and share with you sort of where we start. He wrote this: "The hope of humanity today lies in the great undiscovered depths within. The time is at hand when all, everywhere, must forsake the fruitless search of the world at the circumference of being and embark upon a courageous quest into inner space. It is a very real world, and its depths can be sounded, its potency released. It is not a conquest, but a bequest. It is not as much something within us as it is the deeper level of us. The history of humanity on the eternal quest has been a strange odyssey. In search for the Holy Grail, we have overlooked everywhere and in vain, but we have failed to look within ourselves. Occasionally, a prophet came telling of the world within, but instead of following them into the deeper experience, we invariably made a god of the prophet, worshipped them, and built monuments to them. They then trapped themselves in a religious practice that had no within. How many times has this happened? How many religions are there in the world?" That's what I wanted to start with today. and just acknowledge that one of the things we've been talking about in the prayer class, and I was about to say the Tuesday morning prayer class, but it's also a Wednesday evening prayer class. We've been talking about the idea that New Thought was never meant to be a standalone religion. And we've had a lot of discussion in the practitioner class about what is religion and what are the tenets of religion and how do we relate ourselves to that. Because we have made a construct out of some spiritual ideas that are meant to be applicable to all spiritual paths. That's why the Flames of Faith ceremony is so important to me in how we interact as a spiritual community. And so, really the idea that I want to share with you today is that this is an inner journey. It's not about trying to find the grace in the constructs. It is not about trying to find the path in the building. It's about finding that which is within each and every one of us. And so that's where I choose to begin each and every day by remembering the truth of my being. I am that I am, and we are that which is, each and every one of us. And that's how I also allow myself to practice kindness, which is this month's theme. Because if I know the truth of my being, I must understand it about every single person I encounter, because there is no separation. There is only magnificent love abounding and expressing. And so in celebrating kindness, we have adopted this month a affirmation. That's the word I'm looking for. An affirmation that was written by our very own Sandy Solomon. And I'm going to speak the affirmation out loud first, and then I will invite you to share it with me, and we'll say it twice together. The affirmation is this. Just take a breath. In all situations, I choose kindness. Just breathing into that. Let's say this together. In all situations, I choose kindness. And once again. In all situations, I choose kindness. And so in preparation for prayer, which I like to wrap in music, I invite you to just take a breath, relax, and allow. Just opening up in this moment to a relaxed state of mind and a relaxed state of heart and a relaxed state of body. All is well. I open my heart to healing in this moment. I open my heart to love. I open my heart to healing in this moment. When I open my heart, I am healed. I open my heart to healing in this moment. I open my heart to love. I open my heart to healing in this moment. When I open my heart, I am healed. I open my heart to all the possibilities. I open my heart, and I know when I surrender in trust and breathe in gratitude, I am healed. Taking this opportunity to open up to the reflection of the one power and the one presence, the one source of all that is, and knowing that the discovery of this presence is an inward journey. That each and every one of us is the power and the presence at the level of our understanding of it, and we express at that level. And so I choose in this moment to acknowledge an expansion of that understanding. And in expanding that idea, I know that we are each and every one of us expanded in the expression of this divinity. I hold firm in this state of faith that as we interact with one another, that there is a kindness at the core, For kindness is assured when we understand the truth of every single person we encounter. It is with gratitude and appreciation overflowing from within that I allow this outflow in this time, in this place, and evermore. I relax, I release, I trust, I know, and I allow this to be so, and I affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen. I open my heart to healing in this moment. I open my heart to love. I open my heart to healing in this moment. When I open my heart, I am healed. When I open my heart, I am healed. When I open my heart, I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I am so excited for our musical guest today. I'm always excited when this gentleman joins us. And we're in for a special treat today. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, if you like what you hear today, you can enjoy more of it, and I'll tell you how when he has completed his presentation, his song, his gift, sharing his gift with us today. Will you please welcome today's musical guest, Armin Dertadian.
I love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
As the good book says, heal us, O Lord, and we shall be healed. In other words, send us the cure. We've got the sickness already. I'm not really complaining. After all, with your help, I'm starving to death. You made many, many poor people. I realize, of course, it's no shame to be poor, but it's no great honor either. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune? If I were a rich man, diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum. All day long I'd biddy biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. Diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum. If I were a biddy biddy rich, I'd diddle 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 man. I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen, right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each la-ba-da-ga will land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum. All day long I'd biddy biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, wouldn't have to work hard. Diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum. If I were a biddy man. I see my wife, my Golda, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to her heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Boy, what a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. The most important men in town will come to fawn on me. They will ask me to advise them like Solomon the wise. If you please, Reptavia, pardon me, Reptavia, posing problems that would cross a rabbi's eyes. Boy, 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 boy. And it won't make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're rich, they think you really know. If I were rich, I'd have the time that I lack to sit in the synagogue and pray, and maybe have a seat by the eastern wall. And I discuss the holy books with the learned men 7 hours every day. This would be the sweetest thing of all. If I were a rich man, diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd digga digga bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Diddle 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 digga digga diddle dum. Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man?
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And so if you would like more of that, through the end of the month, Armin is playing Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof at Arts Express Theater. Yes. And that production is also music directed by our very own Linda Ackerman. So yes, please, you know what, whenever I go, I have, take a breath, it's okay. I enjoy season tickets to 3 theater companies in town, and every time I go, I post something that says, hey, I'm at the theater tonight, and I always write, please support the arts. The arts were a really important part of my development in life, and so I encourage everyone to support the arts. That's all that is. I'm gonna now talk about what I actually came here to talk about today. And that is the word if. If I were a rich man, right? That's where the song's written. And I will tell you, some months ago, last year, at some point, somebody else asked to sing that song, and I said no. And I said no because I was like, you know, thinking about the song, and it's kind of not really in alignment with the New Thought philosophy. It's not really in alignment with the New Thought tradition. And then Linda said, well, you know, I know that you said no before, but can Armin sing If I Were a Rich Man? I said, absolutely, yes. But I think one of the things that the song may call us to do, and this is the encouragement today, is that one of the things that the song may call us to do is to start to really look at what are the ifs that we are living within in our own lives. You know, and it's not to say that we shouldn't have aspirations. It's not to say that we shouldn't have dreams. It's not to say that we shouldn't have an idea of how our lives should unfold. But I think sometimes the question of if is supporting the idea of something that feels unattainable to us. How many of us live within that if mindset? If I had more money, if I were healthier, if I were loved, if life were easier. Anyone ask that question? What are the conditions? This is the question, really. What are the conditions that we place on happiness, on fulfillment, on spiritual understanding? What are the conditions we place upon those things? Are we conditioning our spiritual understanding by always stepping forth and requiring proof? If we require proof, we actually are not living in faith. So these are some of the questions that I begin with for your consideration. And I'm going to be totally honest, a lot of today is rooted in questions. Questions, because I like the idea that, one of the paths to inspiration for me has always been questioning what I think I know and allowing myself to live within the construct of the question and allow that question to take me on a journey of deeper understanding. So, a lot of questions today. So one of these examples of, conditioning our spiritual understanding is the very idea of, I will be happy when thinking. I will be happy when some external circumstance aligns in just the right way and in just the way I want it to show up in a particular fashion, then I'm going to be happy. Believing that happiness will come only after a job promotion or I'm finally in a loving relationship. That was a big one for me for a really long time. I decided for a long time I was very unhappy unless I was in a relationship. And boy, what I had to find was that the relationship was me with myself, that's the real love. Believing that happiness will only come after I hit a weight loss goal or some other milestone or even dependence on the approval of others. Another example is when we are living within the construct of comparison-driven fulfillment. And what I mean by that is measuring our sense of fulfillment based on how we stack up against others. In the words of Bob Newhart, stop it. Comparison-driven fulfillment also is, the idea that we only feel purposeful. We only feel as though we have purpose in life if others are acknowledging and praising our contributions. Do you know? Well, if you don't know, I'm about to tell you. Do you know that you are worthy of living the most extraordinary life and you are absolutely necessary to the expression of life just because you're here? It is not dependent upon anything else. I live within the construct of your magnificence all the time because I choose to see you as a reflection of infinite magnificence that we all are. I choose to acknowledge every single week, I am magnificent. And that scares some people. It scares people sometimes to hear, you are magnificent, I am magnificent. But it's the truth. It is the infinite truth. Now, there's another example of this conditioning that we end up layering upon the expression of our lives. And there was a part of me that thought, well, you might be surprised by this one. As you all come here on a Sunday to hear some sort of external authority. By the way, I'm just a sharer of information. I don't consider myself an authority. Even with 2 ordinations and a doctorate, who cares? That stuff is just external circumstance, and it doesn't really matter because the ultimate authority over your life is you. And I may be able to share something that will spark an idea, but the idea lives within you. It is expressed by means of you, and it flows forth into expression because of you. So, I'm about to say this, rely less on spiritual leaders. Rely less on spiritual books. Rely less on spiritual institutions. and allow yourself the willingness to accept your own divine natural authority, which is what I always refer to as our DNA, because it is innate. Our DNA is divine natural authority. Now, I know scientists will say, that's not what DNA is. Well, I'm talking about spiritual DNA, not physical DNA. All of these patterned ideas that many of us live with, that we live within the construct of these patterned ideas, they keep us tethered. They keep us from actually expanding into the most magnificent evolution of infinite divine source that we can express. In New Thought, we are, each and every one of us, we are the point of creation, infinitely. Now, I get some pushback sometimes. It's like, well, we're not the creators. God is the creator. You are God. You are God. You are the essence of the divine. And so you are creating your life constantly, infinitely. Whether you are aware of it or doing it actively or purposefully or not, your life is the construct of everything that is within, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your feelings, flowing forth into expression. So happiness, fulfillment, and spiritual understanding are not wholly derived from outside external circumstances. They are an inside job. So let's surpass the if. That's the title of today's message, Surpassing the If. We're going to move beyond the if I were a rich man. And with all due respect, let us welcome inner certainty. Let us welcome inner certainty. In prayer class, the prayer class that we're teaching right now, in the prayer class that I'm teaching right now, we are really rooted in this call. That the purpose of prayer is not to pray for things. It's not about things. Although the things may be a reflection of something happening within, we may look to our lives and say, I see all of these things in my life showing up as my life, but the prayer work is not about trying to coerce or manipulate the things, rather to pray from the consciousness of that divine natural authority. To pray to change that which is within each and every one of us. That is the purpose of prayer. Frequently, I will say that the purpose of prayer is this, to change our minds. That's about as simple as it gets. The purpose of prayer is to change our minds. What we teach in this philosophy is that a change of mind, and that is the construct of thoughts, beliefs, and our feelings, to change our mind is to allow the circumstances to follow suit, because everything begins here. Everything is created twice. Everything is created twice. First as a conscious idea, and then that conscious idea is created in form. And so, if that is the effect, and this is the cause, what is it we should seek to change? Never the effect. The effect will take care of itself when we have changed the cause. So never underestimate the power of planting a seed of love, a seed of kindness, a seed of magnificence, which is those are the seeds that I choose to plant every single day as frequently as possible. Now, this song, it captures the common tendency to postpone our joy, to postpone our fulfillment, to postpone a sense of feeling purpose until those external circumstances change. And spiritual principle offers an alternative. Wealth, love, fulfillment, none of that begins in form. It all begins in mind. And I want to point out something, and I know I've pointed this out before, but note that I didn't go, it all begins in mind. It begins in mind. Because mind is not the construct of the brain. Mind is the infinite consciousness which we are all expressing. And for me, the most magnificent aspect of mind is that heart space. Because when we are in tune and in touch with that heart space, we become master creators in our lives. And so it all begins in mind. Wealth, love, fulfillment, magnificence. It all begins in mind by making a decision. Making a decision. Instead of saying, if I were rich, what if instead, I'm not rewriting the lyrics, but what if instead we affirmed from an assumption that abundance was already available and expressible by means of us? By saying, abundance is mine now. Look around. Look around. We live in an abundant universe. Why do we allow the isness of all that is expressing in its fullness, which is inherently abundant, to be diminished in our own minds? It doesn't work to be abundant in form unless we are allowing a magnificent idea of abundance to be fully embraced within ourselves. We don't have to work so hard to be abundant. God does not have to work to be abundant. It simply is abundance. And so when we start to acknowledge that we are that power and presence, then we don't have to work so hard to create abundance. A lot of people tie their experience of financial prosperity. Did you notice that, what I just did? I was like, I've got to push my pant leg down. We are in our culture, we are taught that the source of our financial prosperity, which we align with our abundance, oftentimes we are told that that is our job. What if you were to disentangle those things and realize that the source of your prosperity, the source of your abundance is infinite source? It is God. And that it is showing up in magnificent, extraordinary ways that are not just your job. Now, your job may be part of that. That's okay. Trust me, I love my job. And it supports me financially. I love it. But it's not the only source of my recognition and acceptance of abundance in expression. So disentangle the idea that anything is related to form. It's all so much more. We are the very expression of that isness, the magnificent, infinite divine. We are the very expression of the thing itself. And all aspects of the divine are the aspects of us. So what if we allowed a deeper understanding and acceptance of this idea? Abundance is our birthright. That's an inner acceptance. Abundance is an inner birthright, an inner acceptance that is the abundance is our birthright. And the expression of it out there, the outer expression of that inner idea is what we may refer to as prosperity, because prosperity is a form-driven idea. A consciousness of abundance is what leads to the expression of prosperity. That's about as fundamental as it gets. Do we sometimes think, and this ties into this month's theme of kindness. Do we sometimes think, oh, if people were kinder, the world would be better? I know that I go out in public sometimes. I know it's a shock that I don't just live here. And I experience unkindness in the world, and perhaps that idea is something below the level of my awareness that I might consider, oh, if people were kinder, the world would be better. Well, what if we started saying, what if instead we started saying, how can I embody kindness now, irrespective of what's around me? Because as I become the thing I seek, what happens is I begin to see that thing reflected in my experience. Kindness is not derived from circumstances. It is a practice that we can choose and allow to be reflected in our circumstances. Do we sometimes think, I'll be happy when others treat me with kindness? Instead of this idea, I am happy because I choose to be the kindness that I seek. I choose that. The kindness we extend, and here's an important caveat, the kindness that we extend without conditions. That's a hard one for some people, to have unconditional kindness. But the kindness that we extend without conditions nurtures the joy and fulfillment both within ourselves and others. And so are we willing to step forth to be the expression of unconditional kindness? And as I say that, I have to think to myself, boy, when I leave here today and I'm driving down Swan, am I going to be the expression of unconditional kindness even in moments of privacy? Because, I drove in LA for a lot of years. I'm very familiar with road rage. I'm very familiar with the idea of, if only those people would learn how to drive. What if I took away those conditions and allowed myself to just proceed with kindness, even if no one else is in the car with me? So today is a call to faith. That's really what today is all about. It is a call to faith. And faith, as you may remember or you may have read at some point, is a mental attitude so inwardly embodied that the mind cannot deny it. That's what faith is. The ideas that we carry that are so deeply embedded and embodied that the mind cannot deny it. And what happens is our lives flow forth as the construct of that faith. What we accept in mind is a prototype for what we experience in form. So we may want to stop looking to form to validate our belief in faith. For example, again, is life good? My bank account will tell me. Am I loved? My social circles will support that idea of love. Does my life have value? Only as I perceive it reflected to me. Here's the thing. You have to be the point of creation for all of these ideas. Life is good if you decide life is good. You are loved if you decide that you are loved. Your life has value if you decide your life has value. And it does not matter what anybody else thinks. It does not matter. I mentioned Cheryl Lee Ralph a couple weeks ago, basically saying the Critics' Choice Awards, no one has to like you, no one has to love you, no one even has to respect you, but you better love, like, and respect what you see in the mirror. That's what's important. At what point might we stop seeking proof of these things in our lives and start living as examples of these things in our life? Jesus was a way shower. And we look to Jesus as a way shower. We look to many mystics throughout the ages as way showers, forgetting that we can be way showers too. There is no limitation on the way in which we may choose to be way showers of love and kindness and respect and joy in this world. So how will you choose to proceed? Ernest Holmes wrote this. He said, as we depend on any condition, past, present, or future, we are creating chaos because we are dealing with effects and not causes. So do you choose to live in a world of chaos or a world of order? Order being one of the faculties of the divine that we teach here in Unity, one of the 12 powers. Order is paramount, and order is an inside job. And we allow that order to be relinquished when we look to the circumstances to prove to us something in our lives. The chaos in my mind will always create unpredictable results. And so if I am surpassing the if, what I am doing is I am clearing out the chaos in mind. I am allowing myself to come into alignment with that magnificent cosmos, which, if you are not aware, cosmos is the antonym for chaos. Cosmos means universal order. It is time to do some spring cleaning. We're going to celebrate the vernal equinox this week. It's time to do some spring cleaning. Just as physical clutter can create stagnation in our physical experience, and in feng shui, we call that passive chaos. Ooh, right? Passive chaos, that stuff that just sits there in an unordered fashion. Just as physical clutter creates stagnation, mental clutter blocks the flow. So are we reluctant to welcome new thoughts to crowd out old beliefs, or are we willing to step into new thoughts? Are we engaged in mental hoarding? Think about that one. Like Tevia's dream of wealth, we may be engaged in mental hoarding when we are engaged in the ifs of life. If I only had, if I only were, if only life would. So I have 5 steps to consider how we may mentally declutter and surpass the ifs of life. The first one is, you might guess, throw away anything that is unnecessary. Mentally let go of anything that is unnecessary. One of the 12 powers, one of the 12 faculties is release. It is elimination. It is saying, this is no longer required for my experience, and so I simply let it go. We don't have to get rid of it. We just have to say, no more. Let it go. So what are some beliefs? This is the call to, this is a rhetorical question. You do not need to shout out answers. What are some beliefs that you can currently identify that do not serve you, even if they did at some point previous to this one serve you? Is there anything that you're holding on to that does not serve you in this moment? Maybe it's ideas of lack, limitation, doubt, worry. What ifs are you willing to throw away? That's the first of these 5 ideas. The second is to give away something, to give away those things. Now, really, the idea when you're clearing out clutter is to give away that which might have been useful to you at one point is no longer useful, but somebody else might find it useful. I think that the only things that are useful to give away are love, light, peace, joy, and wisdom. And you know what's really great about it is if you give those things away, you also retain them. Because there is an infinite abundance of love. There is an infinite abundance of light. There is an infinite abundance of peace and joy and wisdom. And so as we give it away, what we find is that we are infinitely immersed in and expressing from those points of view. So it doesn't matter how much you give away, you're always going to keep some of it. The more we give, the more we keep them alive in our experience. Now, the third way to declutter our minds, engaged in the spring cleaning, is to keep things but store them away. Do not order a storage locker. Just saying, do not order a storage locker. I had a friend who once this is 30 years ago. I had a friend who was a flight attendant, and he used to say, when I was seeking to be in a relationship, I decided that I wanted to be with somebody who understood the nature of luggage and the baggage that they're bringing into the relationship. He said, it's okay if you bring the baggage, but as long as it fits underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead compartment. He said, but no checked baggage. So here's the thing, not everything from the past needs discarding. You can, now I said before, stop listening to your minister. I basically said that, right? But you can retain the words of infinite wisdom that is expressed around you, the words of a teacher, an elder, or an inspiring moment. I have on my computer, I don't have it up here. I have this note in my notes app. It's on my computer, it's on my phone, it's on my iPad, it's everywhere. I could always have access to it. It's called my Sunday Notes. And what it is it's bits of wisdom that I have collected throughout my career that I look to and allow to inspire me on a Sunday. So I do keep things. I store them for later inspiration. That's the thing I'm encouraging us all to keep. Review what you need to review as needed, because I have also gone into those notes and I've said, this is no longer relevant, and I delete it. Review them as needed and be intentional about what you choose to store. There is also a good friend of mine who, and this is in my notes, and I've had this in my notes since I started these notes 20 years ago. My dear friend Curtis used to always reference his mother, his grandmother, and she was known as Miss Minerva, and he would always talk about this being a way that he would wake up every single day, and this was something that he kept in his consciousness, and stored it and used it as needed. And what he found is he needed this every morning. When she would say to him, he continued this, she would say, "Good morning, baby. It's time to go out and meet your great." And that is something that he willingly gave to the world, and so I allowed myself to keep and store that idea and allow myself to be inspired. Never underestimate the seeds you may be planting in someone else that they will take to be inspired. Here's a fourth category, those things that we're not sure about. Oh, are you not sure? Here's what is oftentimes called for. Put it in a box. Set it aside for 6 months and see if it's really needed. And if it's not, let it go. Don't even reopen the box. If you find that in those 6 months you have not opened the box, let it go. We can do this in mind. We can do this in mind. We can live in the mystery, but actively engage in the question. Are we holding on to uncertainty, or are we willing to allow clarity to emerge by putting things aside in a box and determining whether or not we really need them? You can allow clarity to emerge by saying, I'm just going to set you aside over there for a moment, and I'm going to consider another idea. I talk about it every week. You may hear something today that butts up against your belief, and I always go, and there's this belief, and there's this belief. And you get to make the determination. It may be that you say, I'm going to put this belief aside for 6 months, and I'm going to live within the constructs of this belief. And then see what happens. And if that doesn't work after that time, you can get that other belief out of the box. There's also a transitional box. And the transitional box basically is an invitation to do this, to practice consistent and ongoing welcoming of deepening awareness. Mental clarity requires consistent practice. That's what I have found. And it is my desire that that consistent practice becomes so deeply embodied that we don't need to work at it anymore. I often say that my desire is to put myself out of a job. That's what drives me in ministry. I want to put myself out of a job, because what that means is that we have all gotten this so profoundly that we don't need to work at it anymore. We're just living our best life. So I desire to put myself out of a job. Mental clarity requires consistent practice, but keep the practice of continuous clearing to be in the expression and allowing of being a test. End everything in mind. What I mean by that, I know you're like, what the heck did he just say? Because I don't even know that I know what I just said. It happens sometimes. The transitional box is to allow this idea. I'm going to clarify it. What if we walked through the experience of our lives, and everything that we utter, everything that we express, we allowed to be capped and considered with this idea that when we say it, we end it by saying, and so it is. And if the idea doesn't serve you, change your mind immediately. I know I've referred to this before. I got a tattoo in 2018. And I used to be kind of against tattoos, no more. But I got this tattoo that says, and so it is. And I got it in this particular location because when I'm wearing short sleeves, I see it as a constant reminder, a consistent reminder that whatever I am thinking, whatever I'm believing, whatever I'm feeling, and the way that that is expressing as I say things out loud, that is becoming the construct of my life. And so everything, this is a reminder to cap everything with the idea of, and so it is. And that may not be the phrase. That may not be the phrase. It may be, no matter what. That's a good one. No matter what. Or amen. Or as we speak something into being, abracadabra. Whatever works for you. If the idea does not serve when you punctuate it with a definite idea of, and so it is, let the idea go. That's the transitional box. So there are ways that we can move the mind. There are ways that we can step into a greater expression and move from that chaos, that disorder, into cosmos, into order. And it is not related to anything out there. Romans 12:2 reminds us, do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is a fundamental piece of scripture that most ministers in New Thought really resonate with and put out there consistently. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Instead of seeking the proof of kindness in the world, what if we became the proof? The key to surpassing the if is to stop waiting for conditions to change and to become the catalyst for change. Peace and blessings. You are magnificent. And so each week I offer a home practice. This week it is this: turn ifs into affirmations. And so what I would like you to do is see if any if statements come up for you around your life experience, and write down any of those if statements that you've been telling yourself. And then rewrite each statement as a present moment, spiritually principled affirmation. You're probably wondering, how do you do this? I've got at least one example for you. So consider that this might be an if. Oh, if I had more confidence, and something may follow that. If I had more confidence, that may become, I am the embodiment and expression of a divine assuredness. Change those ifs into spiritually principled present moment affirmations and see how that works for you this week. I'm going to invite us all to relax right where we are. Simply opening up and allowing an awareness in this moment of the one power, the one presence, the one source of all that is. And checking in to see if there's any kernel of an idea that may be resonant for you. Letting that idea be fully present in mind and in heart. Just taking it into this moment of magnificent silence. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence, I find God, I find myself. I find God, I find myself. And I find myself when I find God. For they are one and the same. There is no separation. There is only this one magnificent source flowing forth into expression infinitely. And I choose to be easeful in this and invite an easeful awareness for each and every person whom I encounter, knowing that as we proceed through this thing called life, we can surpass the if. And welcome assuredness, welcome certainty, knowing that certainty is rooted in the faithful adoption and awareness of love, of light, of life, of peace, of power, of beauty, of joy, of the attributes of God. And so for this outflow, this magnificence, I am in eternal gratitude. I feel the sensation of gratitude overflowing from within, and I know that gratitude fuels that creative engine. And so I know the word I speak here and right here and right now is met in mind to create something new, a new idea that flows forth into form. And so I welcome the construct and the flow. And I do so with an assured heart that this word is complete in the expression of it, and I simply let it be. I relax, I trust, I know, and affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen. In the silence there is peace. In the silence silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself. Just breathing into that. I'm going to invite us all to take out whatever it is we're sharing with this community today in terms of a financial contribution in support of the work that we do here, and hold that gift in your hand, whether it's in the form of a check or cash, or you have a card that represents that you give by electronic means. Please hold that in your hand and recognize that what you hold in your hand is the intention of love in expression, that this too is God in action. Just breathe into that idea, breathe into that understanding, and let us allow that understanding to carry us into this practice of giving. As the baskets go around, we are going to sing our celebration song. Feel free to move your body if you like. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Here we go. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. Yes, it does. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Woo! Please welcome Reverend William Gill to guide us in the blessing of the offering.
Good morning. We're about to say an affirmation, a statement of truth. So hold that statement of truth in your heart and mind as we say together, we bless these gifts and we see these gifts going out and blessing our community and the world. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend William. And let's find out what is happening here at Unity of Tucson.
Good morning, Unity of Tucson. It's Sunday, March 16th, 2025, and here's what's happening in our vibrant spiritual community. Are you interested in learning more about Unity of Tucson and what membership means? Join Reverend Jonathan Sunday, March 30th at 11 a.m. in Room 3 of the Annex for our quarterly membership orientation meeting. This is the first step in becoming an official member of Unity of Tucson, so don't miss this important opportunity. Need a moment of peace or inspiration? Call the Unity of Tucson prayer line for a comforting, uplifting prayer available 24/7. Each month, we offer a new affirmative prayer to support you on your journey. Take a deep breath, listen, and know that you are never alone. Dial 520-577-3300 extension 6 to reach our monthly recorded prayer. Do you enjoy raking, shoveling, and moving rocks around? Join William Summers Thursday, March 20th at 8 a.m. to help create a new pedestrian pathway as part of Unity of Tucson's landscaping team. Tools will be provided, but please remember to bring gloves if you have them. Become a Unity Peace Ambassador. Find out all about it on Wednesday, March 19th following the midday Unity Prayer Service. Together, we'll discuss ways to create peace at the community level. Let's bring peace to the world by engaging in local action. Bingo Night is coming to Unity of Tucson. If you are interested in being on the planning committee for this exciting event, please come to a meeting today in Room 4 following Sunday service. We're bringing the Rant, Radically Affirmative New Thought live to our campus, and you're invited to be a part of the studio audience. Join Dr. Jonathan Zenz and Reverend Steph St. Amand for an energizing and thought-provoking live stream on Friday, April 11th at 9:30 a.m. right here at Unity of Tucson. This isn't just a webcast, it's a bold, dynamic conversation exploring practical spirituality and radical new ideas to awaken you to your magnificence. Come be a part of the energy, the laughter, and the inspiration as we stream live. Seating is open, so arrive early and be ready for the rant. Surf's Up at the Gaslight Theater. This time the show is Beach Blanket Bebop, a hilarious, heartwarming review featuring some of your favorite sun-soaked melodies. Join us Sunday, April 27th at 3 p.m. for an afternoon of madcap mayhem and nonstop fun. Get your tickets today in the Desert Light Bookstore. You can find out more about all of our events, classes, and other ways to get involved in your spiritual community by visiting the Desert Light Book and Gift Store or online at unitytucson.com. Have a magnificent week.
Thank you so much. I want to extend a special welcome to anybody who may be joining us for the first time today. As you were coming in, you may have been invited to receive a gift. If you did not receive that gift, you can pick up that gift at the newcomers table in Harmony Hall when we have fellowship at the completion of the celebration today. But there's something else that we would like to share with you. So if you are comfortable with identifying yourself as someone here for the first time, would you please stand or raise your hand? Is there anyone who's here for the first time? Welcome. Grateful to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And here's what it is that we would like to share with you. Are we ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You are magnificent. And thank you for shining your light and sharing your magnificence. And I think we should all exclaim for ourselves an affirmation of our own magnificence. Let's say this together. I am magnificent. Yes, indeed. I would like to also acknowledge our magnificent manager of Youth and Family Ministries. Here's Dee, who's going to tell us about what happened with our glorious youth today.
Well, today is a very lucky day.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's even luckier because it's St. Patrick's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find yourself wanting to do something for St. Patrick's Day, do what we did. Grab a bell pepper and stamp on paper, it makes shamrocks.
That's
Or
awesome.
you can make a necklace out of cereal.
That's cool too.
There's so many options. We talked about how lucky we are, but we also talked about how grateful we are for all of you for coming in here and sharing our day with all of you every week.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who made today's celebration so extraordinary. I want to say thank you to Diane and Lorraine for guiding us in the Flames of Faith ceremony today, guiding us in the blessing of the affirmation. Thank you to Reverend William Gill. I want to say that Reverend William and Laura Cass will be available at the completion of the celebration today. If you would like a moment of prayer, they will remain here in the sanctuary, and seek them out to engage in their prayer consciousness. Thank you so much for your service. I want to say thank you to our entire hospitality team, our greeters, our ushers, everyone who makes our fellowship happen. I want to say thank you to our technical team, Don and Jim and Sherry and Gavin back there. Thank you so much for your service. As always, I love to offer gratitude for this extraordinary music team, Linda and Rafael and Paul. Thank you so much. And let's hear it for our guests today, please, if you would, Armin, please stand and please join me. Armin Dertadian, thank you so much. Yes, indeed. Let us share together this prayer of divine awareness, which will lead us into our final song. I am infinite light. I am infinite love. I am infinite power. I am infinite presence. Wherever God is, I am. Wherever I am, God is. And so it is. Amen. Feel free to dance if you like. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I am loving every living thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. We're all precious, no one less or more, and we've all got the same treasure in store. That's why I'm loving every living thing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I'm believing in my guiding light. No matter what comes, it always turns out right. I just dig down to how I feel. I take a deep breath and then grab the wheel. That's why I'm believing in my guiding light. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything.